Hello there, YouTube. It's your boy B3 back with another kicking graphic novel review. And I'm going to be reviewing a lot of books because I've been focusing mostly on action figures on this channel. And so I've gotten incredibly far behind on graphic novel reviews. So I think action figure reviews are going to kind of take a rest for a while we do some graphic novel stuff. And right now I want to focus on Weird DC. Now, what do I mean by Weird DC? I mean DC comic books that are a bit more out there, a bit different than the traditional like superhero book. So, first off, that means we're going to be doing a lot of Grant Morrison. Grant Morrison is known for their very weird and often hard to understand stories, but Morrison is a brilliant writer that I'm a huge fan of. One of my favorite comics of all time, All Star Superman, is a Morrison book. I think I reviewed it forever ago. Definitely go read it. And the movie, the animated movie adaptation, is pretty magnificent as well. I think Dwayne McDuffie was the main scriptwriter for that. Rest in peace, King. But we're starting off our Weird DC reviews with the 2016 to 2018 run of Doom Patrol. We're reviewing Volume 1 right now, and Doom Patrol 2016 to 2018 is collected into two separate volumes, and it's part of the DC Comics Young Animal imprint. Now, when DC started their Rebirth initiative, which was great, I loved DC Rebirth. I really, truly did. And still do, to this day. Brought back a lot of the stuff I felt was missing from the New 52. And it was a lot less depressing than the New 52, much more hopeful, much more fun. Really just a great era of DC Comics, even though it felt kind of short. But I loved DC Rebirth. Truly, truly loved it. And you'll be seeing a lot more reviews of that eventually on this channel. But during that time, DC had something called the Young Animal imprint. And Young Animal was kind of an adult imprint for DC Comics. So all the comics published under Young Animal in that little umbrella are all mature, rated R, rated M. They are not for kids. You know what I mean. But they were also very experimental, very weird books. And nobody gave them a fucking chance. And it makes me so mad. The first one I read ever was Mother Panic. You guys can't comprehend how much I loved Mother Panic. I think I've reviewed both volumes of that. I have not reviewed Gotham AD, I believe, but I think I've reviewed both regular volumes of Mother Panic. And I've read all of Doom Patrol and loved it. I actually have a lot of the Young Animal stuff still to read, but I have read a good bit of it as well. I think I'm maybe about a third through all of Young Animal. And Doom Patrol is such a weird, incredible book. Doom Patrol was kind of the X-Men before the X-Men. They came out very shortly before the X-Men. And a lot of people believe that the creative team on the original X-Men book actually heard through connections that behind the scenes Doom Patrol was being worked on, because there are an insane amount of similarities between Doom Patrol and the X-Men. Doom Patrol is all heroes that have been kind of shunned from society, and they have a rich, intelligent benefactor who is in a wheelchair, and they fight to protect the very people that hate them. Incredibly similar ideas, but in my mind, they're actually pretty different. All things considered, I think once you get into the specifics of it, Doom Patrol and the X-Men are quite different, though they have a lot of similar themes. Anyway, let's get into Doom Patrol itself. So, Doom Patrol Volume 1 is called Brick by Brick. It's by Gerard Way, Nick Darrington, and Tamara Bonvillain. Imagine having the last name Bonvillain. Holy shit. That's cool. And this book also has a good afterword by Gerard Way. And Way, I believe, is also the architect of the Young Animal imprint as a whole. So keep that in mind. Now, let me read you the back of the book here. From the mind of Eisner Award-winning writer and pop culture... what the hell is that word? Raconteur Gerard Way. I don't know what that means. Sorry. We'll figure it out. The world's strangest superheroes. Reborn. The atoms are buzzing. Daydreams crowd sentient streets. Generation arsonists unite. This is Doom Patrol. And the god of superheroes is bleeding on the floor. Casey Brink is a young EMT working the graveyard shift and dealing with a past so bizarre she's not sure what's real and what's make-believe. With her partner Sam Reynolds by her side, she's about to blaze a path through the darkest alleys and blackest hours of the city. And the people she finds there will blow your mind. Robot Man, Crazy Jane, Negative Man, Flex, Mentalo. Together, these incredible beings have redefined what it means to be a superhero and stretched the meta boundaries of comics beyond recognition. Now their power rests in eager new hands. Doomsday is upon you. Visionary writer and co-founder of My Chemical Romance, Gerard Way, The Umbrella Academy, and artist Nick Darrington from Catwoman and Ecstatics unleashed the inaugural title in DC's Young Animal imprint with Doom Patrol Volume 1, Brick by Brick, a madcap reimagining of one of the most mind-blowing franchises in the history of the DC Universe. Collects issues 1 through 6. Let me tell you, folks, this book is fucking brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. To the point where describing it to you is not entirely possible. It is that insane, weird, and unique. So, Casey, our EMT, and her partner, that is ambulance partner, have got some weird stuff going on. They're not entirely sure what's up with their lives. They don't really... Once again, this is so hard to explain. Casey herself feels like she's maybe meant for a little more. Also, Robot Man is in kind of a micro-universe inside a burrito. Which is true. And there's a guy named Ricardo looking for someone named Danny, who he believes to be a sentient brick. He cannot find Danny. And Niles Calder, the professor that originally got the Doom Patrol together, he's doing stuff that seems insane. Perhaps he's maybe manipulating the Doom Patrol into getting back together. So, Casey and Sam, Sam is the other EMT, they encounter Robot Man once he leaves the burrito microverse, and he gets hit by a truck and turned into scrap. But they decide, hey, let's pick up scraps and we'll put him back together. But then we also have a bunch of aliens who want to create a new burger franchise. And then Casey's roommate dies. And she gets a new superpowered one. Very, very fun. And her new superpowered roommate is going to become a lot more relevant in Volume 2. Her name is Terry Nunn. Maybe if you've read a lot of Doom Patrol, you'll recognize the name Nunn and put that together. I didn't, which made it a very nice surprise for me later. But we get a lot of just crazy images as like Russian nesting dolls and dead superhero gods. Negative Man, we get some kind of new lore for him about what he is, and he kind of reforms. And Robot Man is reactivated. And everyone seems to be looking for someone named Danny. As I said, a sentient brick. But Danny isn't a sentient brick. Danny has changed forms. For Danny is now a sentient ambulance. The very ambulance that Casey and Sam have been driving around in. And Danny has created another dimension inside of himself. And those who have no place can live within him in his happy dimension where everybody is taken care of, but also gets to be themselves and be fulfilled. You know? But it's gotten to the point where he can now create life. And, big spoiler here, alright? As it turns out, Casey is a being he created. And he didn't even mean to. Danny has a comic book within his world about her and her adventures. And she has become real. She has sprung forth from Danny Comics. And now she can finally see Dannyland. Also, Flex Mentallo lives there. He's showing her around. I have a very soft spot for Flex Mentallo, and we will be reviewing Grant Morrison's Flex Mentallo Man of Muscle Mystery because I love it. But I wanted to do this Doom Patrol first. I really wanted to kick off this run of weird DC books that I want to review. And I thought Doom Patrol was the best place to do that. Plus, Mentallo's in it anyway. Anyway, we continue onward. She kind of learns a little about the Doom Patrol and Robot Man and Negative Man. Try to figure out what's going on with them as well. Danny looks in these comics and she kind of starts to see who she is. She sees a lot of things that have happened to her but haven't happened to her. There's like a creature called Fug or something that's like a little sidekick, and she has a dad that's been infected by this virus that turned him ugly and evil, and her mom is not. Her mom is not. But here's the thing. Remember the aliens that I said wanted Danny to make burgers? Danny can spontaneously create life. Life that's made of meat. You understand? Danny is a limitless source of meat that these aliens can use in their restaurants. I know. It's so fucking weird and insane, but also really creative. So they just want to turn Danny into a farm and just slaughter and devour all the people he can create. But there's also a little bit of side story stuff. You have Sam, and it turns out he's got a lot of family drama. He's got a son named Lucius, who's into heavy metal, and also sorcery. He wants to be a sorcerer. He keeps trying magic, and it upsets his grandmother, and his mom abandoned their family. She's gone. She's gone, and that's caused a lot of tension. Too much tension. Lucius and his father Sam they just can't connect with each other. But luckily, that lasts only a few pages, and then we're back to everybody else. But we end up on this alien ship and on this negative zone planet, and everybody's running to kind of get together, stop these aliens, but also get Negative Man his powers back. And we see a little bit of Crazy Jane. She's not in this much. She's featured a lot more in the next story. So it turns out Crazy Jane and Danny were like flying around the universe when Danny was a brick. But they met someone who they thought was a friend. Turned out not to be a friend. And it really further traumatized both Danny and Jane. And that's one reason Danny didn't want to be a brick anymore. We'll find out more about that later. But it turns out that now, Danny's father, not Danny's father, sorry, Casey's father, has now also been brought into reality out of comics. And he's running amok. He's working with the burger aliens. But then Negative Man gets much more control of his powers. Also, Danny's cat, whose name is Lotion, gets turned into an anthropomorphic furry cat guy by an astronaut. But the astronaut, you don't know who it is, but later you figure it out. Anyhow, there's a lot of weird time travel and meta commentary about comic books and whatnot, which is good because that's... I mean, Flex Mentallo is in this, and that's kind of the whole point of his existence. And I also really like Negative Man right now, because it's, if I remember correctly, the way his powers used to work is he would release like a negative version of himself out of his body to fight, but it was kind of deadly, so he had to have these bandages on, and he still has to have the bandages. But he releases now an alien from a negative planet in a negative dimension, and that alien now fights for him, but Negative Man himself kind of falls asleep. He cannot be conscious while the alien is out of his body. There's a balance to it. But while he's unconscious, he lives an entire life within his mind, birth all the way to death. And if he stays asleep long enough, he can experience multiple lifetimes. And then when he wakes up, he has the life experience of multiple versions of himself. Incredibly interesting. If Doom Patrol could have gone past 2 volumes, can you imagine what they could have done with that? Incredible stuff. Really, truly incredible stuff. But, you know, there's an evil Casey, and we find out where Sam's wife and Lucius's mom is. She seems to be part of a cult. A cult led by Crazy Jane. And that ends Volume 1. I'm kidding. That doesn't end Volume 1. There's still a lot. We're almost at the end, though. We're about 3/4 through. Anyway, Casey does end up getting everyone out of there, away from the burger aliens, and then they crash by a compound. Crazy Jane's cult compound. Yeah. And it turns out Crazy Jane is going to drop the bomb that created her on her and all of these cultists. And these cultists are troubled people, people that don't feel like themselves anymore, that she has kind of manipulated. And when the bomb drops, she claims that they're all going to fuse with her, because Crazy Jane is a lot like Legion from Marvel. She's got different personalities, and those personalities have different powers. And she wants to add all these people to her, giving her new personalities and powers. Except that's not actually what's going on. So this Jane isn't Jane. It's an evil doctor personality who is manipulating things and actually is going to kill all these people. There's a lot going on. Robot Man goes inside her mind to help the real Jane out. You know, Sam is there, so he wants to save his wife from the gene bomb. And it turns out that Jane actually had a lot more agency in this than we were originally led to believe. And that the Doom Patrol, big spoiler again, doesn't really need to do anything to stop the bomb. In fact, they need to ensure it drops. Why? I think I've already told you too much. But Miss Nunn has this product. It's kind of like... What's that, like, artificial sweetener or whatever they put on food? I can't remember what it's called. I can't remember. But she makes this product where you pour it on food, and not only does it make anything that it's put on far tastier, but also far healthier. You see, so if you put it on like a pile of gummy bears, it would be as healthy as like an apple. And it would taste 1,000,000 times better than anything on the planet. And it's called the shit, but we're not going to find that out until the next volume, which is somehow even fucking crazier than this one. So, what are my final thoughts on Doom Patrol from 2016-2018, Volume 1, Brick by Brick? A truly incredible book. Great meta story, and it's not like so meta that it takes you out of it, you know? Like, it's like that, remember that Rick and Morty episode where they're on like the narrative train or whatever? I was never really into that episode. It was just so meta that it wasn't grounded enough to feel like there were any stakes. But you really do feel like there are stakes throughout this entire book. Heavy, heavy stakes. I'm not just talking about Danny meat steaks. I mean, I think we have a really cool team lineup with our Newer Heroes Space Case, and we also got Flex Mentallo there, who I love, but also some staples like Robot Man, Negative Man, and Crazy Jane. Of course, Niles Calder is not on the team. I don't know if you know this, but a while back it was revealed that he actually caused the accidents that created the Doom Patrol members. He intentionally caused those accidents so that he could manipulate them into becoming his team. Crazy stuff. Really insane. But the art in this book is pretty incredible. It's got a lot of paneling that kind of is reminiscent of almost like some Alan Moore kind of stuff that I've seen. Very interesting. I've been trying to pay a lot more attention to paneling recently. But I love the art in this book. It's incredibly bright and colorful, but also all over the place in a very intentional way. And the cover arts, oh my god, don't even get me started on the cover arts. Some of the most interesting covers I've ever seen on comics, period. Oh man. Really, truly, some great books. Like there's one cover that's just Negative Man on what looks like the moon, and he's got this kind of weird reflection going on. I would hang that on my wall. The covers themselves are high art. And then the book, it's just so much. It's just so much. Really, truly amazing stuff. Once again, the meta commentary isn't so much that it takes you out of the story. It's mostly for Casey, that the meta stuff exists. For our other Doom Patrol characters, it's a bit more business as usual, but they get dragged more into the meta commentary in the next volume. The next volume is very meta, but it ramps up at a reasonable pace. Like, it gets you to the meta point. So, my next review will probably just be the second volume of Doom Patrol because I literally cannot wait to get to it. But I hope you all really enjoyed this book. I really truly do, because I enjoyed it. Definitely read it for yourself. I haven't read a single Young Animal book so far that wasn't brilliant. I loved Mother Panic, and I loved Doom Patrol. And we're going to talk about others in the future. I haven't read Far Sector, but I'm a big, huge Green Lantern guy. And I've heard it's fantastic. That's it. Thank you once again for your support. Remember to rate, comment, and subscribe. Check out all the cool links in the description below. Facebook, Twitter, @SetErra. I'll be seeing you all next time. Bye for now.